GTA 6 is probably going to be the biggest game of all time, and it's supposed to release sometime this year. However, there's already some people saying that's not going to happen, and given it's been over a decade since GTA 5, it wouldn't be that surprising if the release date got pushed back a little bit. So at first that got me thinking, I know how to make games. I'm just gonna make GTA 6 myself and release it before Rockstar. But apparently everybody's already done that. Psst, alright, well actually screw GTA 6. I'm going to do something crazy. I'm gonna beat Rockstar by like 30 years and make Grand Theft Auto 7. Now, what is GTA 7 actually going to look like? And how do I know that it's going to take 30 years? Well, luckily, I've made this graph. Look, these are all of the major GTA releases over time. And here you can see a very clear exponential curve. And if this trend continues with some simple math, I predict that GTA 7 will release sometime around 2055. So I've pretty much got to make this. So now that we know which year GTA 7 is going to be set, we can start to work on the main character. Now GTA 6 will include the first playable female character, which I think is pretty progressive. But this is 2055, alright? So our main character has to be wheelchair bound and non-binary. Just kidding. In the end, I figured implementing wheelchair accessibility would be challenging for a game about, you know, stealing cars. And I couldn't find any good 3D models for the player either. So I decided to make a meta-human, which if you're not aware is like a regular human, but meta. But anyway, here's me making the player. So I probably got a little bit carried away, but here's my character. As you can see here, I did the hair. I was kind of trying to like replicate the coronavirus. Black and white houndstooth checkered shirt and neon green yoga pants and loafers. Alright, so now we've got our player. We need to give them some movement so that you can, you know, actually move around. Now, luckily, Epic Games recently released this movement sample pack with 500 plus game-ready animations and locomotion system, complete with walk, run, jump, and fall state. So I'm just gonna steal this whole thing. Wow, look, our player can move. Bro, I would be terrified if I saw this guy coming at me. So now that we can move, I need to start making the GTA 7 map for the player to explore. Now, the map is probably one of the most important aspects of a GTA game, and I think one of the things that made GTA 5 so good is how they blended different environments together on the same island. So I think it's crucial that the map feels convincing and immersive. This looks terrible. Unfortunately, I've never actually made a landscape before. So yeah, my island had some obvious defects, but I kept working at it. And after painting on some textures, I feel like it looked alright. At least from afar. Jasper, why do these rocks look actually terrible?
Well, listen, right, it's actually very intense, because what you have to consider, it's 2055, right, so, climate change, and, sea level rise, and like, flooding, it's all caused mass erosion, and what's happened is the rock, all this water, right, the rock's being smoothed out, and, I mean, some of it's even just kind of sunken into the ground, you know, from all this water. It's caused, like, divots in the rock, you know, like, stalagmites.
Anyway, so I think the island looks okay. There are actually some like mountains here and stuff, and I kind of like this beach area. There's also this like hole here. I don't really think this would be naturally occurring, but I'm no geologist, alright? But anyway, what we have to do now is make the GTA 7 city, which, if you've forgotten, is going to look exactly like this. Now to make the city, we're going to need buildings. So I went on the hunt for some futuristic city models. Oh yeah, this one looks good. It was actually surprisingly difficult to find futuristic city assets that were for free. So after scavenging the internet, I ended up just downloading any and all free building models that I could find. And once I thought I had enough assets, I started laying down some roads, which took pretty much ages because I was using these free modular road pieces that I had found, and I was having to duplicate and align them all individually. And after like 3 hours of this, I realized that I probably made the map a bit too big. Oh yeah, and then to make matters worse, my PC crashed and the whole entire map got corrupted for some reason. Awesome! Now luckily I did make a save file, but it didn't have any of the roads on it that I had just spent hours placing. So after the map got corrupted, I decided I would worry about building the city later, and instead started to work on an even more crucial part of a Grand Theft Auto game. The strip club. Just kidding, we need to add guns. So I added this assault rifle and now you can shoot. But what good are guns if you can't murder people? So I made these sick blood particles, and now you can mow down innocent civilians. And this was great. However, usually in GTA, committing crimes will increase your wanted level and then send the police after you. So I downloaded this police guy model and started working on the police AI. And now this guy will patrol around the map, and then when you shoot, he'll come after you. Now this is my first time making an NPC with AI like this, but there are only a few problems I've found. For one, they're just not very smart. They tend to just accidentally kill each other most of the time. They're a little bit blind, and they can be pretty inaccurate. Oh yeah, also sometimes they just launch each other into the sky, and then sometimes this happens. I genuinely don't know why, but Alright, so now that there's some police, it's time to finally implement the strip. We need to add cars for us to steal, as that's kind of the name of the game. But not just any cars. In 2055, we're finally getting flying cars. You heard it here first. So I found this Hyundai concept car, which looked pretty cool, and ta-da! Now you can fly. Now, believe it or not, I did not spend a very long time on the movement, but it works. Except for the Cybertruck. I also tried adding a flying Cybertruck, but for some reason, every time I jumped out of the car, it would just go flying into the air. But it was kind of funny and I didn't really want to fix it, so that's also a feature now. However, there was still a problem. After I'd added flying cars, the police literally couldn't kill you, and it was far too easy to escape them. So I added drone strikes. So now every time you try to escape in a car while you're wanted by the police, military drones will lock onto you and try to blow you up. Now, I think this will make gameplay more fair and provide an additional challenge for the player. So I think now it's time to work on making the city again. However, I think there's still a few adjustments I want to make to the landscape to make it more realistic as well. For example, you may have been wondering why the police have these gas masks. Well, it's actually very intentional because, well, everyone knows in 2055 the air pollution's going to be pretty bad, right? So let's make some adjustments. There, that looks a bit better. Yeah, no, this looks good. And then I started building the city again, using my free road pieces and buildings that I'd found. Jasper, why is all the writing on this building in Korean? Isn't GTA supposed to be set in America? Well, another thing you have to consider is in 2055, the world is a much more multicultural place. Alright, here it is. Grand Theft Auto 7. And I know what you're thinking. This is exactly where I want to live. You might also be wondering why there's no, like, pedestrians or other cars on the road. But that's just because of the pandemic. Yeah, I think they called it, like, COVID-55 or something. So that's Grand Theft Auto 7. I understand it's not a very fleshed out game, but I guess you can think of this as kind of like a prototype, you know, like a glimpse into the future of what the Grand Theft Auto franchise could be. Guys, please subscribe. Okay, bye.